I'm going to be doing a mental health minute on setting goals. Terry is going to be watching the chat box if there's any questions. Just remember to please keep your mic off. And if, again, if you have any questions, Terry will check and let me know. All right, so. All right, so like I said, I'm Bobby Hansen. I'm the crisis counselor with Project Renew. I am a single mom of 22 years, and that is myself with my daughter. She is back in South Dakota, learning how to be an adult and learning the responsibility of saving money right now. I was a former business owner. I had my own massage business for about 15 years before I moved to North Dakota, and I was also a domestic violence advocate for 7 years prior to coming here as well. I'm known as being very independent, very determined, and I am the best procrastinator that you'll ever meet. I put everything off to the last minute, but it seems like that's when I get my best work done. So that is a little bit about me. I picked this slide because 2020 was a complete disaster, and I would like to just Control-Alt-Delete it, just like we did on our computers when we sign in for work. It took a lot of people down, and what I wanted to do with this presentation is help people try to get back on their feet, and if they're setting goals and they lost the ambition, to try to get back there. So a goal without a plan is just a wish. I have been there many times wanting to save money for this and that, and I didn't have a plan on how to do it. I just knew I wanted to do it, and they kind of all just fizzled out because I didn't have the momentum. All right. So where do we start when we are want to make a goal? In order to be successful, your goal needs to be a SMART goal. That means it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. We are going to go through all of those right now, and I have some examples. To be specific, a specific goal has to be much greater chance of being accomplished than a general goal. And there's going to be 6 W questions that we're going to ask ourselves when we start setting it. First, who is involved? Who is going to help make the goal happen? Is this your own goal? Is this you and your spouse's goal or a partner? Is this you and your children are doing it together, or maybe you and some coworkers? So who is going to be involved with that plan? What is it you want to accomplish? If you accomplish, I want to have a few dollars in the bank account at the end of the year, that's not specific enough of what you want to accomplish. So you have to know exactly what it is you want the end to be. Identify a location. Where are you going to do this goal at? Is it something that you're going to work on at home? Where are you going to do it? Establish a time frame. If you don't have a time frame, you'll never know when you've reached that goal. As you're going to see in the goal that I have up, there is a specific time frame to do it. And then identify requirements and constraints. What do you need to get this goal accomplished? What is going to prevent you from getting this goal accomplished? If you figure those out, it'll be easy to set up. And why? Specific reasons for purposes or benefits of accomplishing the goal. All right. So I went ahead, and my goal right now is not this specific one, but it's also saving money. I'm terrible at saving money. I get on a roll and then something knocks me down. I was doing very good, and then I was laid off from my full-time job. And it just felt like I was getting set back again. The goal that I have is that I use for this presentation. I want to save $10,000 per year for the next 10 years. So at the end of 10 years, we want to have $100,000 saved. Now, to make this goal measurable, we need to determine if it's measurable and asking ourselves questions such as how much. $10,000 would be how much that we want to save. How many would be per year. So we want to save $10,000 per year. And how will I know when it's accomplished? We'll have $100,000 at the end of 10 years. Then we know we're successful in setting our goal. A goal also has to be attainable. So you can attain most any goal when you set your plan steps wisely and establish a time frame that allows you to carry out the steps. So these are some questions to ask, or to think about. When you identify goals that are most important to you, you begin to figure out ways that you can make them come true. So this is different than wishing you could meet a goal. In order to be attainable, you're going to have a plan that you're going to make it happen. You're not going to say, okay, I could really start cutting back on this. You have to make a plan and be specific. You have to say, I'm definitely cutting that out so I can save money. You have to have the attitude, abilities, skills, and financial capacity to reach them. So now you're going to have a new mindset and be determined to complete the goal. And then you're going to start seeing previously overlooked opportunities to bring yourself to achieving your goal. I like to go back. If I'm trying to save money, I like to go back to the month before in my check register. And I like to see how much I've been eating out. It is a scary, scary number. I was helping somebody last night and we were going over his budget. And I made him go back and write out everything that he ate out. We did what he spent on, for him, what he spent on cigarettes and what he like eating out for the month of March. It was $700 to $900 that he had no clue. He drives his truck a lot for work. He drives all over. And so he would stop at a gas station to use the restroom. So then he would buy something, or he would stop to get cigarettes, which is fine because he has it in his budget, but then he would buy something, or going out to eat with his daughter. It's just that stuff that you don't think about. And he told me, he's like, yeah, there's not going to be very much money coming out of this account. So I also had him do 2 weeks in March. He was already at $700 between two accounts and he had no clue. And that included a trip out of town. So that was that as well. But he was so glad that he had that eye opener. Are you a person that spends money on clothes that you don't need? I have a credit card to a clothing store. I feel like I had a bad day. I'm going to go shopping. Or I buy clothes that I will lose weight to get into and then I never wear them. Or do you say yes to your kids when you should have said no? Being a single mom, I said yes to my daughter a lot. Okay, all the time. And she ended up with a horse. Then we had to get a pickup. Then we had to get a horse trailer. And then there's tack. And then there's hay. And then there's feed. And as a single mom, I wanted to do everything I could for her, put her needs first. And that led me into debt and struggling. Is your goal going to be attainable? So what changes are you willing to make to start saving? Are you willing to cut back on eating out? Are you willing to say, okay, this month I will only spend $100 eating out. Take out that $100 in cash. And once you start seeing it dwindle, you're going to realize how much you're spending. The person I helped last night doesn't keep a check register because he just looks at his account. So he started to write everything down, and every time he spends $6 there or $6 here, he's putting it in his register, and he's actually going to see his money dwindling, and it's for nothing. Like he could be putting it into savings. Are you willing to wear the clothes you already own? Do you really need the new clothes? Or is it just going to make you feel better for the minute? I have probably 10 pairs of jeans in my closet and I wear 2. Number one, because those 2 fit me and they're the most comfortable. So and I have one shirt that's my absolute favorite. It is a yellow Carhartt sweatshirt and I wear it every day. But I have, again, 10 other sweatshirts. And the biggest one, are you ready to say no to your children or even to yourself? That's where a lot of us are like, I really don't need it, but I'm going to do it. Like when I get off work, I have food in my house. I don't want to cook it. I'm going to go grab a pizza. I do that all the time. And where can you cut expenses? Not everybody can cut the same expenses. I cut expenses. I cut cable out. I changed my phone plan to not Cricket, but there's a prepaid plan. I deleted apps. I was on Weight Watchers, wanting to lose weight. I didn't follow the plan. I used it only to weigh in. I just deleted that app. That was $25 a month. I don't need Sirius XM on my phone. That was $15 a month. And some of these apps I didn't even realize were charging me each month until I went through and finally figured it out. Start using coupons. I don't coupon. I want to. I'm horrible. I don't know how to start. But I'm going to start doing it because, you know, being laid off and getting a new job that doesn't pay as much, I need to start saving money where I can. All right, now for the goals to be realistic, it must represent an objective toward which you're willing and able to work. It can be both high and realistic, but you are the only one that can decide how high your goal should be. But make sure that every goal represents a substantial progress. I don't know why, but it seems like a higher goal is much easier to reach than a lower goal because there's more motivation to get there. If I set a goal that I want to have $50 by the end of the week, it's only $50. So what if I don't save it? But that $50, if I save that every week, that adds up in the end. But if I only set it for a week at a time, I don't feel like I'm going to be as motivated to actually do it. Again, realistic. Is $100,000 in 10 years realistic? Is that possible to do? Or should I go out 15 or 20 years? If it's realistic, could I even go maybe less than 10 years? It's totally what your budget allows. And then again, is 10,000 a year realistic? Could we cut it in half and make it 5? And that equals $830 a month. Do I have an extra $834 a month realistically to put into savings? Or if I do $834 a month, am I going to be struggling to buy groceries at the end of the month or rent for the next month? Should it be $500? So there's so many things that you need to look at before you actually set the goal. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up for failure. Also, a goal must be timely. It needs to be grounded within a time frame. With no time frame, there's no sense of urgency. I would like to have $5,000 in my account. By when? I don't care. I just want to have it there. Okay, so if I don't have it there in a couple months, I'll do it next month. It seems like if you don't have the sense of urgency in the time frame, you're going to keep putting it off and it's never going to get done. The T can also stand for tangible. A goal that is tangible, it needs to have a sense. That you need to be able to taste it, touch it, smell it, see it, or hear it. So this goal is tangible because it's you can see it. You're going to start seeing your money accrue in your bank account each month or each week. You're going to be able to see what it could look like at the end of 10 years. So that's what makes it tangible. When your goal is tangible, you have a better chance of making it specific and measurable and then attainable. If you weren't seeing your money being built up into your account, you're going to lose the momentum to keep going. So even if you knew the money was going in there, but you didn't check it, you didn't see, you didn't put it in a register, you didn't look in your account to see how much it was building, you're going to lose the momentum to keep it going. I actually just went through that faster than I thought. A goal always seems impossible until it's done. My goal is also going to be saving some money, but what I like to do is go through my account and see what my extra spending is. I like to see what I can cut out. I like to, is this where I want to be in 5 years? Or do I want to be somewhere better or be able to buy things that I want to be? I want to go on a vacation. I want to be able to go see my daughter who's 6 hours away and not have to worry about money. So when I think of setting the goals, I also think of not only it's going to benefit me, but somebody else. I was following the Dave Ramsey plan for a while. I tried to. It was not for me. I was trying to do the envelope system, and I was trying to do cash for everything. It wasn't working because I felt like when I gave every dollar an assigned place to be, I was so broke I couldn't make ends meet. And it was actually my daughter who isn't doing this, but she suggested it. There is another way to, another budgeting schedule to do. And I'm following it, and it's saved me. I am able to put money into savings. So instead of giving every dollar an assigned place to go, I I pay for all my necessity bills, I pay for gas, and I pay for groceries, and then everything left goes into a different account. So that way I have the money in there if an emergency comes up, or like I just had to get my car registered, I had to have an oil change, I have a crack in my windshield and it's going and I keep watching it, and pretty soon it's going to be in my eye level and I know I'm going to need a new windshield.
Bobby, we've had a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to go slightly out of order here. How do you write a SMART goal that isn't all or nothing or black and white? So if you set the goal, say that you're going to exercise 12 times a month and it's March 17th, for example, and you haven't worked out yet, how do you get the motivation to work out when you've already missed your goal?
So maybe for the rest of March, say I'm going to work out 6 times in March. You know, if you've already done, if the half the month is gone and you want to do 12 a month, just finish out this, cut it in half, do the 6 months or do the 6 workouts. And then in April, do the 12. Another thing you can do is figure out what is your best time to work out. Is it in the morning, lunch break, at night, when your kids go to bed? But if you, it's also a mental game. You have to be mentally prepared to do it. I wanted to also work out and walk every night and take my dog for a walk. I wanted to get a recumbent bike at home. I knew I wasn't going to do it, so I didn't buy one. If you have your mind set to it and you have maybe working out 12 times a month, you set a little prize for yourself at the end. Go buy a coffee or go do something fun for yourself if you've met those 12 goals or 12 workouts, I'm sorry.
And another question, what about pointers for when our goals are interrupted by external forces? So if something outside of our control impacts our goals, how do we get back on track there?
Hmm. I that happened with COVID. I was saving money and then COVID happened. And that's why I put the reset, control alt delete, reset it, whatever you where you got stopped at, pick it back up if you can. I wouldn't beat yourself up about it if it was interrupted and it's not your control that it was interrupted. I would start, say, okay, with this goal, say I had 5,000 for the year in, COVID happened, I had to back up, I had to use that money for something else. Start start saving just the way you were able to again. But I definitely wouldn't beat yourself up about it or get down about it um, for a setback. That's my frame of mind. I'm like, I've been there so many times where the goal's almost met and then something happens and I'm back down. I just pick back up and I keep going. If you have your mindset that you really want to accomplish it, I think it would be easy to do.
And we got a comment that one thing I have learned, shame is never a motivating factor. And I just wanted to read that aloud because that's so true.
Yes. I as a single mom, there was a lot of emotions going in with finances and stuff. So I kind of wish I knew what that person was meaning. Like, if there was a reason, like they got shamed for not getting the goal met, or if they shamed themselves, because we are our own worst critics. So if we don't accomplish what we set out to do, we think we're failing. Um, my goal at one time, I started nursing school, and I wanted to become a nurse. I wanted to provide for my child. I, wanted to buy a house. I failed the nursing school year by 1 test point. And then I did an internship that summer to try to to get back into practice to start again. And in that, I learned that my path was not nursing. So sometimes our interruptions and what we feel shame about failing, it might lead us to something else. I guess that's what I feel about shame. I've learned that everybody has their struggles, and so as long as you keep trying and don't give up, you should never feel ashamed of yourself. So that presentation went through pretty quickly, and I didn't realize how fast I talked. So we have 8 minutes left. If there's any other questions or comments, or if anybody else has any ideas of how maybe they achieved a goal to help other people out, I think that would be a good thing to share right now. And if not, Terry or Cassie, do you want to throw anything in there?
Cassie just commented that goal monitoring is important as well, which is good to keep checking in with your goals and make sure that they're still moving you in the right direction and that those are still the right goals, especially if it is a goal that's longer term. Checking in on that goal regularly is important.
I really like that comment because, like, if you're setting that goal of 100,000 at the end of 10 years, but you're struggling over here with something, and that goal is interrupting, and you need it here. Is that what you mean, Cassie? Yeah. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And there's been a couple of other comments here. One thing that one commenter learned is to do the bare minimum to get you initiated. So if your goal is to walk your dog regularly, tell yourself just put on your shoes. And then once you put your shoes on, it's a lot harder to not leave the house. And another commenter says focusing on the little steps, otherwise you get too overwhelmed. And I find that for myself as well. If I focus on the really big picture, it can get overwhelming. Cassie, do you want to unmute? You've got your hand up.
I do. That just reminded me of a saying I saw written somewhere once, and it said the best way to complete something is to start it. I let that stick with me because I'm a procrastinator too, Bobby. So the best way to get something done is to start.
I live in Watford City. I have a track literally at the end of my housing, my apartments. I could walk on that thing every night, and I look at it as I'm eating on my couch, and I'm like, look at all those families walking over there and playing, and I'm eating the pizza I just went and bought. So definitely getting motivated. I'm no pro on setting goals or achieving them, but also I've heard of SMART goals, but until I was putting this presentation together, it didn't really hit me until I actually started paying attention and reading what each goal needs to be. And now it makes a whole lot of sense. So the person I was telling about when I helped him with his budget last night, I was joking and I said, do you want me to be your payee, your little secretary? And he's like, would it sound bad if I said yes? And I said no, because some people need help getting there. He's like, I want to learn how to do it, but I need you to do it and show me as we go. So teach me how to be disciplined and teach me. I'm a big talker and I'll say, do it this way. And then I might not do it that same way. But him and I are going to do it together. We're going to work on our finances together. So yeah, he wants to learn how to do it. And he's like, you do it. We'll do it once a week. We sit down. He gets paid once a week, and you show me how I need to pay for things without being broke by the next week. So.
And we had one more comment that I really love here, which is that it's important to look at your goals when you don't meet them. And so you can decide if you really want to reach that goal, or did you just have that goal because you think it's something that you should be doing? So
Has anybody had that happen?
I feel like most people have had something where they've failed at and they've taken the opportunity to think, did I fail at this because I really didn't want it? Like, taking failure as an opportunity to assess if it's something you really want is a good way of reframing it as not failure, but as opportunity to reframe everything.
Yes, I really like that comment too. Was there one more thing in the chat, Terry? Or no?
I think that's got us up to date on the chat, but we've had some really great comments in the chat.
Yes, we have. All right. Well, it's 12:27. I just want to thank you guys for showing up. And if sorry I went so fast. It was my first one we did. I love these mental health minutes, and I love that we can do this for everyone, because I think that we can all bring stuff to the table and help each other learn, even though we're presenting. The comments that you guys shared, I didn't think of those things. So thank you guys for being here. And Gary, I think we're ready to, we can be done.